pastel red to burgundy and spinifex to gold. Just come out of the mulga where the plains forever roll, and Albert Namatjira has painted all the scenes, and a shower has changed the lustre of our land. And it's raining on the rock in a beautiful country, and I'm proud to travel this big land as an Aborigine, and it's raining on the rock, what an almighty sight to see, and I'm wishing and I'm dreaming that you were here with me. Everlasting daisies and a beautiful desert rose, where does their beauty come from? Heaven knows. I could ask the wedge-tail, but he's away too high. I wonder if he understands. It's wonderful to fly. It cannot be described with a picture, the mesmerising colours of Katajuda, or the grandeur of the rock. Uluru is power. Chapter 25. It's raining on the rock, what an almighty sight to see. I don't often record with other artists or take them on the road, but 10 years after I recorded Raining on the Rock, I had a phone call from Graham Archer, who was working on Karma Radio, Central Australian Aboriginal Media Association, in Alice Springs. Graham, originally from New Zealand, had become quite fond of Alice Springs and was impressed by the talent among the local Indigenous Arrernte mob. Alice is traditionally Arrernte or Arrernte country. The mobs are Central, Northern, South, East and Western Arrernte. Albert Namatjira, our famous watercolourist, was Western Arrernte. I'm managing a talented young fella named Warren H. Williams, Graham said. I'm encouraging him to record duets with well-known country artists. He would love to record Raining on the Rock with you. He is Western Arrernte. Well, I have always been a huge admirer of Albert Namatjira. I think he is the only artist who really captured the colours of the centre of Australia in the early days. In fact, I reckon he opened our eyes to the many pastel hues out there in the landscape. He was the first Aboriginal artist to paint landscapes in the way Europeans had done, and he seemed to do it with the greatest of ease. So I was especially delighted when I found out that Warren is Albert Namatjira's great-nephew. Warren doesn't paint, but he can really sing, play guitar and write songs, so I agreed to record the song with him. When Warren arrived at Trafalgar Studios in Annandale in Sydney, he was quite shy. Firstly, I discovered his voice was in a completely different range to mine, so I had to change the key of Raining on the Rock so we could sing an octave apart. Warren has a quite high, husky voice that is very appealing. I felt a bit on the spot recording a song with a genuine article, so to speak, so I offered him the chance to change the lyrics if anything bothered him. He said, "Uluru is power, not Uluru has power." I changed it immediately. Also, I knew we had to sing the same words together, so, like an Aborigine, became as an Aborigine. I wasn't at all happy with the studio version we recorded, but then something magic happened. I invited Warren to sing the song with me at the Golden Guitar Awards night in Tamworth. It was held at the showground in those days, when the awards felt really country, with sawdust on the floor in a huge tent. Steve Newton, my recording engineer, recorded the rehearsal and then the performances as well. I had Pixie Jenkins playing music sticks and Joel Smith playing bass guitar. It was one memorable moment. The crowd roared and gave us a standing ovation. Everyone wanted to embrace Warren and our Indigenous culture that night. Steve captured the moment by stitching together the rehearsal and the performance. The awards night performance left Warren a bit awestruck and a little incoherent, so we managed to find the sections we needed from the rehearsal recording. I don't think it mattered, the magic was there. That recording received the most airplay for a country song that year, gaining us an APRA award. We were also awarded Best Single at the Deadly Sounds Indigenous Awards in 1998. I gave the award to Warren to take home. He deserved it. Now I wish I had a replica, as the award meant a lot to me. Sadly, it didn't get a gong at Tamworth. Warren, along with Pixie Jenkins, the fiddle player, came on the road with me for quite a while. It was great fun. My show took on a mixture of humour, pathos, culture and Aussie pride. The three of us jokingly called ourselves the Greenie, the Blackfella and the Puff, imagining that's how some of the old club managers would refer to us. After a few years, we all went our separate ways, but while I was in England on a solo tour, I felt the urge to go back to the trio. The True Blue reunion tour got underway in 2003, and that period was a highlight in all our careers. We recorded the live show in 2004, and this became the Mates on the Road CD and DVD. After quite a lot of encouragement from folk in the USA, I decided to take the show over there in 2004, along with Pixie Jenkins and Warren H. Williams. I knew I wasn't well known, but Phil Matthews and I figured it was worth the effort. We decided to put on 2 shows only, one in Springfield in Missouri and one in Ventura, a small beach town near Los Angeles. The idea was to see if my small number of fans would travel to see my shows, so we concentrated the advertising on these 2 venues, mainly through my website. We landed at an airport in the middle of the night, and straight away I had to drive on the wrong side of the road in slush and snow, with enormous trucks intimidating me from behind. Being an old mud runner from the Black Sword Plains, I found it quite a challenge, but Pixie was shitting himself in the back. As the sun came up, we stopped for breakfast at the most unbelievable diner with a variety of beast heads on the walls. I have a feeling it was not something many tourists would see out in the middle of the States. Springfield was also an eye-opener with enormous barn-like shops and restaurants along the highway. Huge billboards promoting sex shops sat alongside billboards for Jesus. I thought at the time, is this the way the world is going? The township had no heart or centre. Now I see it happening in Australia. In Springfield, we drew about 600 people in a theatre that held around 2,000. I wouldn't have enjoyed the trip if it weren't for a few dedicated fans who not only helped us with booking venues and accommodation, but they were keen to show us around and introduce us to people at radio stations. The radio people seemed to be quite interested in my songs. We visited a couple of schools where Pixie proved to be king of the kids by playing up as the naughty little fiddle player. He was also quite a hit with a gay cop we encountered in a restaurant a little way along Route 66, but that's another story. I still have American fans who ask when I'm going back there. I must admit the experience was worth it, but I have no intention of returning. I found country Americans to be quite different. God knows why so many Aussie country singers want to live there. Give me Canada any day. Canadians seem much more like us. While Pixie and Warren and I had some great times on the road together, after a while I felt like I was losing control of my own destiny and was happy to let Warren and Pixie pursue their own solo careers once more. However, in 2007, Warren joined me again for extensive touring throughout Australia until he remarried and had a baby, and the pressures of being away from home became too much. Both Warren and Pixie have concerts on their own now, which they couldn't develop as part of my show. It was also time for a change for me.